last night I went to my first Goose concert, and so I want to walk you through the whole experience. I took a bunch of short TikTok videos to kind of showcase things as I went, and I kind of recorded like a reaction. So this will just be kind of an experience just to give background. I went to my first Phish concert 5 weeks ago on April 22nd and 23rd in San Francisco. So, how interesting that the very next month, on May 27th, Goose was coming to San Francisco. So, I was like, well, I should go because I'm going to be, I live so close. And if you think about it, when I was young and I lived in a small town, we'd have to drive like 3 hours or 4 hours to go to a concert sometimes. So, the fact that I only live like 45 minutes away from San Francisco, I should pretty much take the opportunity whenever I have it. Now, on top of that, so when I started listening to Phish, I had people starting to recommend other jam bands. And as you know, now on my YouTube channel, I've listened to the Grateful Dead, I've listened to Billy Strings. I went to a Billy Strings set at Outlaw Music Festival. I've been listening to the Grateful Dead. I just bought a ticket to the Dead and Company in San Francisco August 1st through 3rd. I've listened and reacted to the String Cheese Incident, to Widespread Panic. So I'm kind of just starting to get into these other jam genres. And so I thought it'd be interesting to compare my experience at Phish, compare Phish to Goose, and what I think are similar and what's different. Because I definitely think there's a lot of things that are different. And then there's some similarities as well. And I just think it's interesting to point that out because a lot of jam bands get lumped together. But I'm already finding so much differences in both the music itself and the music, the music and the fans, honestly. So I'll kind of walk you through in chronological order because that's how I like to tell stories. So that's going to be a combination of TikToks and then videos that are not uploaded yet but are in this other window. So when I was getting ready, this is what I wore. Fit check for my first Goose show. I'm mixing up the pink and we're going with a little bit of like lime green secondary color. And I still have the thigh highs, so it's kind of like 80s style like leg warmers. And then interestingly enough, my shoes are actually green and pink also. Take care of your shoes. Anyway, so this is the fit check for my first Goose show. I have no idea what the vibe's gonna be. It's like literally, I've heard like 4 of their. Okay, so that's what I wore. I don't know if that's not so exciting. And then I got to the train station and let's see. How do I play these out of here? I think I can. Yeah, it's just me at the train station. Then I recorded. I love this. This is like a whole story.
I'm on the train to San Francisco to see the Goose show tonight. It's my first one. I was really scared when I did this a month ago. It's hard to believe that today is May 27th, and on April 22nd was the day I went alone to the Phish show in San Francisco for night one. And that was one of the first times I'd ever really gone to a concert by myself. I was trying to think if that might be the first time I actually did. And I was really nervous because I didn't really know anyone going. And so that first night, I had the backup of a friend of a friend who I like knew was going, but I didn't really like know them that well, kind of thing. And then by the second night, I just kind of went off on my own and then made new friends on the floor. But what's really cool about social heard of sort of widespread panic and a bunch.
Okay, so that's just like me talking about going. Then let's see. Then I think I went outside the venue. That's afterwards. Here's me outside the venue. Okay, so guys, San Francisco is all hills. So I had to basically have an Uber take me up this and then this building right there. So the people up in those windows, so it's hard to see. That's the Masonic. And what's really cool is that it's literally next to the Grace Cathedral. Look at this beautiful cathedral. See that? We have that in San Francisco. Can you believe it? And this is going to be the venue. Okay. So then I met up with Maya, and if you guys don't know, the whole reason I met Maya in the first place is that I was recording Phish content on TikTok and she was recording Goose content on TikTok. And so as a joke, by the way, because when I first found Phish, it started with me going on like a dating rant about like, what's the deal with Phish fans and these guys, these Gen Xers, whatever. And so then I was like, oh, I know how to it's basically like a bat signal. Like if I want to bat signal the jam band people, you have to give them a little rage bait, okay? So I know that Goose fans well, Phish fans mostly rip Goose fans. I don't know if Goose fans rip Phish fans, but it's definitely a one way, like Phish fans rip on Goose fans. So I was like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to like purposely rip on the Goose fans to like fire them up. And she took the bait. So this is what happened.
Someone explain to me what the band Goose is.
I know that the women at Goose don't act like this.
So that was kind of the precursor to even going. So then basically I met Maya. Then I started talking to her. She was actually really nice. She's like, oh, I feel so bad. I didn't mean to like insult you. I'm like, don't worry. I didn't take it personally. And honestly, we just kind of made a joke of it that she was talking about how, Goose is so much cooler than Phish and this and whatever. And I was like, that's cool. And then we just started talking. I had her on my podcast twice, and we're going to do some follow ups as well. She's actually following the entire Goose concert tour. Like, she's getting her car with her boyfriend, they're car camping, they're like following the tour. So, this was the beginning of the tour. I'm like, how cool. Like, I wish I was 22 and was not working after she just graduated college. So, it's like, that's such a fun thing to do, Sounds very 1969 kind of thing to do, right? So I totally think that's awesome, and I'm totally supportive of that, and it's just been fun to kind of interview her and see what that is, because I live a totally different life. I'm a suburban mom. I'm like driving my kids to rowing and my daughters in choir and high school, all these like activities. So it's like, okay, if I can catch a concert because they're now busy with their activities, their friends, their homework, and I can start to like get into this whole having my own little world outside of my children, because they're going to be gone in like 5 years. So I need to have my own role post having children at home. So this is like preparing for empty nest as well. If you guys are wondering, like, why does she do this? It's like, well, when you're going to be an empty nester, you got to have a community, right? So that's how I sense it. Okay, so then I go to, so then at the concert, we had a really fun time. Oh yeah, I think I have some footage of the concert here. And I filmed Maya dancing because that's like, I would want someone to film me if it was my favorite band. Yeah, and then this guy right here with the gray hair, he even told me that he was a deadhead, and there was like a dreaded person. Most people around me were a bit older, like I'd say like 55 to 70 years old, actually. Okay, I like this guy. So my opinion of the band is that Rick is a great guitarist. He sings pretty well. He just kind of keeps everything kind of internal, though. He doesn't really, like, when he feels emotion, he kind of like will even like close his eyes or kind of like take it in. The drummer is really hot. He's like, I decided he's the like secret hot member because he's just like busy, and I kind of could see him, and he's like wearing like just a vest with no shirt under it. I'm like, oh, the drummer's a hottie. The bassist, he always wears sunglasses, which is why I brought my sunglasses, which was smart because the lights are way brighter than Phish, and they like literally shine into your eyes, like stroke warning, okay? So I had to wear my sunglasses because these low lights in this video right here, these would move sometimes like this and sometimes straight, and sometimes they were right at my eye level, and I was like, huh, good thing I have these sunglasses with me. But this piano guy, he is the one having the most fun. He's just smiling the whole time, and he's laughing, and he's just like, oh, this is great, life is good, like I love it here. Like, he's absolutely just having a good time, and there's nothing like watching a musician who's having a good time. I really think that that's so important. It just makes everyone, I was happy whenever I was like, oh, okay, this jam's going on a really long time. I would just watch him and I'd be like, he's having so much fun, and it made me have fun, if that makes sense. So I think he has that like star pizzazz. He absolutely loves music. He absolutely loves what he's doing. Rick's great. Like, he's really good at what he does, and they sound good. Their sound engineering was really, really fantastic, and I was right in the front. I even got to be on the rail. That's because Maya got there at 4 a.m. with her boyfriend, and they waited outside. And so then they were able to get in early, and stake a claim, and a lot of people were tarping and whatever and putting down blankets and such. And then she told people like, hey, my friend Erica's coming. She has to go to work today, so she's going to come like at 7. But if it's okay if she comes up here, they're like, yeah, no problem. So they were really nice about me coming up. They weren't like, no, you couldn't do it. Now, apparently, she pointed out that there's an issue. Well, I have a lot of things to say. So I recorded this whole thing, and it's pretty long, but these are my thoughts this morning out of my car. So I may fast forward through some of this because I may be redundant in what I've already said. Reaction to my first Goose show. All right, so it was at the San Francisco Masonic, and I'm going to compare a lot of things directly to my first Phish shows I went to because they were just 5 weeks ago. So on April 22nd and 23rd, I saw Phish both nights in San Francisco at Bill Graham. And then last night, which was May 27th, I saw Goose, and they're also going to play tonight. I don't have a ticket yet for it, and I don't know if I can go, but so I want to at least respond right away to my experience. So I got there around 7, went to the bathroom, and then luckily I had met this girl Maya online, and she had gotten there really early, and so she was really far up on the floor. And so I guess she told everybody ahead of time, hey, my friend's coming late, she's coming from work, blah, blah, blah. And they were really nice, and they let me come up, which was great, because I think in general, had I not known someone up there, those people would have been really possessive, because apparently there's like a VIP situation, which I find kind of weird, because the only thing differentiating the VIP is that they're allowed to go down earlier, but it's GA. So as long as you buy GA floor, you can be anywhere on the floor, but the VIP people get a slight advantage that they're let in earlier, so they come out and they tarp early. So because she'd gone there at 4 a.m. and was waiting in line, they just let her go down there anyway. And I guess some of the people there follow Goose and they've seen her at other shows, so that's why. Okay, so the first thing is I had a really great spot. Second of all, the venue is so much smaller. Bill Graham fits 8,000 and the Masonic fits 2,300. Very small. Demographic, I'd say 99% or more were Caucasian white people. Believe it or not, I thought the demographic was a little bit older. I actually thought there was more deadheads at this concert than there were at the Phish concert. I'd say the average person at Phish was a male between the ages of 47 and 53. I'd say there were a lot of those exact same Phish people at the Goose concert. In fact, some of them were wearing Phish shirts, and I even recognized people that I had seen a month ago, and some people even recognized me. Like this guy came up to me, he's like, hey, I saw you at the Phish concert. And so they were the same people. But there were all these boomer, and I don't mean that in a bad way, I just mean like they literally are baby boomers, deadhead people. You'll see in the videos I share, there's like so much gray hair around me. The men around me looked like they were in their 60s and 70s, and a lot of the women, they dye their hair, but they looked like they were over 55 for sure. And so I'd say there were even less young people. So my friend Maya and her boyfriend are in their early 20s. And I'd honestly, because I took video of the balcony as well, and I tried to get a good read on who's in the audience. And I would say that might be a really extreme, but I think between only 1% and 5% of people were actually under 30 there. Okay, I just want to pause there and say, yeah, it really was true. I was looking hard for young people. I was like, oh, look, there's one young looking girl. Or like, oh, look, there's one young guy. And then I saw these two guys. And I'm like, oh, they're probably like 28 to 32. You know what I mean? Like, that's how few younger people they were. And I just noticed a lot of hippie vibes around me, like just older people, like my parents' age or even older than my parents, 60s, 70s, and they were really enjoying it. And I even talked to one guy, and he said he was a deadhead who had followed the dead. Seriously, I maybe spotted handfuls, right? In any certain spot I looked. And the thing is that these tickets were not too expensive. I think they were I got mine for $70, and I think there were some, maybe when they first went on sale, they were $40, $50, or $60 kind of thing. And I think you could buy kind of obstructed view balcony for not too much. And so, but by too much, I mean, I know $70 is a lot, but compared to shows that cost hundreds of dollars or Beyonce, Lady Gaga, Taylor Swift. How much was that? I mean, I wouldn't go to Taylor Swift, but people were paying like $2,000 to see Taylor Swift. So to see Goose, which plays two full sets, they went on to 7:45, finished at 10:59 exactly. I mean, like $70, and I was floor. I thought that was a very good value. Oh, that person might be 25. Oh, that person. And then Jen, I don't think that the music of Phish and Goose has much in common at all, actually. So all they have in common, if you actually really want to know, is that there's 4 members. You know, a keyboardist, a guitar, a bass, and a drummer, just like in Phish. The difference is in Goose, the keyboardist was originally a guitarist who learned keyboard, but he also plays guitar sometimes, which is really cool. That's the really only thing they have in common, and that they do long jams. That's it. Oh, and there's light shows. But I'd say these light shows, I brought sunglasses, and thank God, because those lights were so bright, and because on the floor, the bottom ones were going straight into my eyes sometimes, and sometimes the top ones were like straight on me like a spotlight. I'm so glad I had sunglasses because it was really bright. It could have been like stroke inducing. Yeah, it was really bright. It was way brighter than Phish. I was like, this is intense. What else did I say? I talk a lot. Progressive rock, I don't know what to call it, but yeah. So I think that the style of music between Phish and Goose is completely different. There was a song that Goose played last night, or it was like maybe a section of a jam or an interlude or something, and it sounded like Nirvana, like straight up. And then there was like parts that sounded like generic rock band, like alt rock or mainstream rock, whatever, adult contemporary rock. I don't know what to call it, like just like straight up. And you get a lot more weird stuff, at least with the old Phish, right? Like tweezer, freezer, step into the tweezer. Like it's so weird. Harry Hood, foam, and I like the weird synthy organ of YEM, you enjoy myself. That's the kind of stuff I like. So that's what I liked a lot about Phish. And then I like that Phish's jams are kind of jazzy and like dun dun da da dun dun da da dun dun da. Goose's jams were great. They're just a very different style. I'd say they have more steady, slow build over a long time. And then of course I got to have a really crazy experience for only like technically my 3rd jam band show, because 2 Phish nights and 1 Goose night. The second set last night was a 2-song set, which means one of the songs went on for like 40 minutes. I didn't time it, but I know that they started the set at 9:25 p.m. and there was one little short encore song. They didn't even leave the stage. It was just like, thanks for coming, da-da-da, encore. And they wrapped the whole show at 11:59. So somehow between 9:25 and I'd say 10:30 practically, it was all one jam, okay? Like, it was just like, and since I didn't know that many Goose songs going into it, I was like, is this going to be a new song? Like, sometimes it would change to a slightly different jam area. Like, they go with one thing for a long time, and they kind of switch to this other area. And then I'm like, oh, is this a new song? And I'm like, no, it's just part of the same jam. So that was really interesting. And they get really intense. Like, then also from the Goose videos I've reacted to, it was very similar, so I wasn't surprised at all. But it'll kind of start and kind of quiet, repetitive. Da, 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 da. Okay, something else. Da, 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 da. Rick solo. Da, 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 da. And then it's like, now we're just going to build. Dun, 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 dun. Lights. These are lights. My hands. And then it's just like, and then it gets flat. Then it's get louder and louder, and some of them are louder, and the drummer's just getting faster and faster. And I'm looking at him. I'm like, he's so hot. And so I'm just like, whenever I got, like, because again, in the second set, as I say here, I think it was definitely so different than Phish. And a lot of the stuff I like about Phish are the weirder things. See, I sometimes forget. That's why I had to record this morning, fresh on top of mind, so I don't forget anything. Like Harry Hood. I said that. Standing there. Reaction to my first. Nah, this is a really bad tracker. Like, you have to hold it exactly on the thing.
Like relaxed vibe, because I could have just like closed my eyes and like just focus on the jam.
I'm saying it could have been good to have a balcony seat and just sit, because the jams were so long in that second half that my feet were actually tired in the second half because I didn't sit during the break. I didn't even go to the bathroom during the break, so I was afraid about getting back up to the front. So I just kind of stood there. And so then by the end, that second set, I was getting like, I had to start chewing gum and kind of like keep myself awake, and my feet were getting tired. And so, yeah, I could see it'd be relaxing to just, if I knew it was going to be a two song jam set, I could have, sitting could have been nice and just like put sunglasses on and just chill and just like listen to the music and like take it in. But the boomers around me were really like into it and like dancing like this and stuff. And so I was like, okay, cool. So like they kept me going.
In the music part, rather than like when you're standing, it was $16. The bathrooms were really.
Yeah, I was saying that the drink was $16. The same drink at Billy Graham cost $18. It was like the tall boy White Claw, the big can. So that was $18 at Billy Graham, and it was $16 at the Masonic. And also the bathrooms were very nice and clean. No line in the women's bathroom, of course, because the concert was like 70% male, maybe 80. I don't know. I can show you my pan of the audience and you'll see what you think.
Really clean. The lines were really organized. Look in the videos I'm going to show you, the people around me are mostly gray haired, but they're like dancing and having a good time. So that's where I think there's a kind of Facebook people are the meanest, and then like TikTok has been pretty supportive.
Yeah, that's true, by the way. What I'm talking about is that I've built a really nice community here on YouTube, and I love reading all of your comments, and I try to get back to all of them as much as I can, or at least try to like it and heart it to show that I've read it. And you guys are great, and I'm all about the community that we're building. I'm just here as a conduit for conversation. I'm recording videos to strike up conversations. That's my main purpose. People who get confused or maybe lash out at me, they think I'm doing it for self-promotion or something, and I'm not. I actually am interested in the community aspect. I love people. I'm super extroverted. I love hanging out. Like, being at the concert was great just because it's like you're with other people. Like, what a great thing to do on a Tuesday night rather than just being at home doing nothing, right? So I do like that part of the concert culture, and I love that then people who like the same thing can connect online and talk. And that's the whole point of this whole channel in the first place. So I really thought everyone was really nice at the concert. Good vibes, everyone chill, no one aggressive, no one dancing like mosh pit style, like heavy metal or anything like that. So it was cool.
Reaction to my when you're young and you don't have that many attachments,
I was saying it's good. I love that she's traveling.
It's the farthest thing from a poser. So
I was trying to say, okay, so this was the point. So a lot of the Facebook people and even TikTok people and even some YouTube people are mean. They'll find one video and they don't know my background and they haven't heard anything else I've made, and they'll just start to write these crazy comments like, what gives you the authority to have this channel, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, first of all, no one needs any authority to have anything. The only prerequisite to being a content creator nowadays is filming yourself, okay? Now, that doesn't mean that people are going to necessarily like what you have to say, and you may add no value, and I totally agree with that. But in my particular case, it's like, lifelong music lover, work in the music industry, have a music degree, studied music, no music history, am a vocal pedagogist, which means I understand singing, how to teach singing, I teach piano. I know about music, okay? I've been to concerts my whole life. My parents love music. It's a musical family. I think I'm allowed to have an opinion in music. You don't have to like my opinion, but I'm just here, I feel, by sharing my opinions, it makes it easier for other people who are not comfortable to get in front of a camera to share their opinions, okay? And it gives an opportunity for us to talk about things that we both like. So that's the whole point. It's not because I'm trying to be like, oh, I'm so great, look at me, I'm a celebrity, blah, blah, blah. However, by dressing well, by putting on makeup, by doing my hair, by looking cute and dressing in bright colors, I give myself the opportunity to stand out and get people to notice and to build my brand. And by doing that, I may get people to visit my channel. So if I come looking like this to a concert where everyone's wearing black and people are like, who's that? And then they come and talk to me and I go, oh, I'm Erica Retro Gaming. They're going to probably look me up after the show and follow me on one of my platforms. So this is just simply marketing. I just want you guys to know. And it's like, if you want to be famous, you have to act like you're famous. So I just kind of am like, I don't give a F what people think about me, like, because people judge me anyway, just for walking on this planet. So I'm just going to wear what I like, and I feel the most happy in bright colors. And I like stuff that I can dance in, and athletic clothes are very fun to dance in, obviously, because you can move in them. So that's why I dress like this. It's what my personality truly wants to wear. And by the way, if I'm going to go to an opera, I'm going to wear a gown or a cocktail dress with heels, right? So I'm going to dress appropriately for the situation. I've just always been more of like a Barbie girl, like very like feminine, pink, floral dresses. I've just always been like that. I've never been a tomboy. It would not be me to put on some like band concert, baggy grunge look and baggy jeans. That's just not who I am. So why would I do that? I feel like you can be whoever you want to be. And there was like some cool like older hippie women last night who had like on like hippie with like the hippie pattern bell bottom kind of pants, and they had like sparkle sleeves. And then they were really nice because Maya brought like a fan, like this kind of fan, and they were borrowing it, and this like older lady was like fanning us. And then there was like this guy who I guess is a Goose groupie guy who looks like he's either the oldest of Gen X or younger boomer. And he was like in charge of the rail. So he was kind of designating like whose turn it was to go up to the rail. And so he even let me go up to the rail for one song. So he was like policing the rail, which I appreciate. So it wasn't just like a free for all. It was like, I got here early. I'm VIP. I got to the spot, but I'm not just going to hog the rail. I'm going to share the rail with the people here. Also, the staff of the concert was passing out water to us in the pit, which I thought was so responsible, and it was nice. I don't know, do other concert venues do that? They were like passing out water. He was like crawling under to like not block the view, and then he was like passing out little cups of water to everybody who was in the pit so that we wouldn't pass out. I was like, wow, that's so thoughtful, so that we don't have to like leave to get water. And also people were dancing, and so he didn't want, no one wants there to be injury or anything. But see, gray hair. Bald head. Yeah. So this is like, what was the road? Then afterwards, of course, there's hot dogs for sale in the streets of San Francisco. They always know where the concerts are. They're always there.
I got a video. How much do you think these might be?
That was getting hot dogs. I did not get one, but Maya got one. I recommended it. They're always good. See, there's her fan I talked about. The guy in the jersey, he was the police of the rail. Look how good that sounds. Like, that really sounds epic. Let me see if I can find this other video and transfer it over to my computer so I can share it with you. One other really exciting thing that happened. Okay, I don't know that many Goose songs, but a few days ago on my live, I really wanted to, I'd heard like a short clip of this song of theirs called the Iguana song, and I was like, that sounds pretty cool. It's kind of like SoCal vibes, like very da-na-na-na-na-na kind of thing. And so I was recording. So I live streamed the first 20 minutes of the concert, which then just gives me a free recording. Honestly, that's why I do it, because it goes to the server, so I don't have to save it on my phone. And so then the first song opens, it's pretty good, and then all of a sudden it's song 2, and it's literally an Iguana song. And the other night on my live stream, I couldn't even find a live version of the Iguana song because they just did it at El Gonzo, and apparently it's like only on Nugs, and so they don't want it on YouTube kind of thing. And so I got my own recording of the Iguana song. So the video quality is pretty bad because I was holding the phone partially, and then I was like putting it in my bra, but it was like blocked by my shirt right here, so that's why you're not going to be able to see.
Yeah, you can have a song.
That's when he got her. That's when he got her up to the rail, by the way. And the reason I filmed her is that if I was 22 and I was at my favorite band's concert, I would want someone to film me so that I could watch it one day. I'd want someone to document that. I don't have anyone to film me often. So I'm either like filming on a tripod, or I'm asking for someone, or I'm doing a selfie. So like I would want and like she was so happy. Look at her. There's Rick and there's her. How great to be that close to your favorite lead singer guitarist. Okay, the Iguana song's coming. Epic jamming. Sorry for this bad sound quality. I put on dual camera so you see me with my sunglasses on because that's how bright it was. This is when it started. See how she said to me? Because right before I said, Maya, I hope they play the Iguana song, and then watch her in between songs. That was me screaming. The rest of this 8 minutes is like the gym. Anyway, maybe I can share that clip separately if I don't get in trouble from like nugs. But in the meantime, I just wanted to get this episode put up, so I'm going to stop recording and you'll see the finished episode and then we can talk later about the rest of the experience. Obviously, they're very good and I enjoyed it and I also like it. So I want to say I like Phish and I also like Goose. I probably like Phish slightly better just because I like their weird songs. But maybe if I got to know more of the Goose songs and so I recognized more, I might also have been like, oh, I love that song, right? So that being said, the jamming situation was amazing. The energy was great. The people were great. The spirit is great. I just wish that there were more young people getting into this because it shouldn't be that I feel like one of the youngest people there. And I literally did. I look good for my age, but I'm like, I shouldn't look this good for my age. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, I just think it'd be nice if younger people were getting into this band, which is supposed to be the younger jam band, right? So I don't know. We need to do something. And maybe it starts with you guys, especially these older guys who are starting to lecture me. How could you have never heard the Dead? Da, da, da. That's not the way to get us. If you start yelling at us about like why we should know the Dead when we're born and like these kids are now, this girl Maya is born in like 2003 or something. Like how is she supposed to know? She only knows because her parents were deadheads. But if your parents were not deadheads and you're born in the 2000s, you're born in the late 90s, how are you supposed to know unless you guys teach us? And you encourage us and you buy us tickets for those who can't afford, the younger people. I also think they can't afford it, honestly. The older people can afford it. The younger people can't. We need to do something about that. Because otherwise we're not passing the torch. It's just going to die off with the boomers. It's just going to die off with the Gen X. Then it's going to die off with the remaining millennials like me. Let's do something different. That's what I implore to you if you're on the older side. And if you're on the younger side, have an open mind about experiences that maybe you haven't done yet and consider old people music and maybe you should see if it's your cup of tea. All right, bye until next time.